Welcome to Gate City Chatter, a podcast showcasing the creative people and cultural happenings that make Greensboro, North Carolina, an amazing place to be. Welcome back, Chatterheads. This is your host, Josh Sherrick, joined as always by my co-host, Matt Feltz. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Josh. How are you?
Man, looking good. I can't believe we're both wearing Folk Festival t-shirts today. I feel like
the good old days.
we should have brought some other vibes with us. Maybe brought another shirt for Ryan here. So introducing our guest today, I'm so excited to welcome an incredible person I've gotten to know really well in the last few weeks, Ryan Deal, to the podcast. Welcome in, Ryan.
Hey guys, thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Man, we're so happy to have you. I'll give a brief introduction, and you can maybe tell a little bit more. Ryan, for all of our Chatterheads, is our new leader in arts and creative things at the city of Greensboro. Our office is now called the Creative Greensboro Office of Arts and Culture, and you are our faithful leader. And we are so happy to have you here and joining the podcast for the first time. It's hopefully a good experience for you. So, how you feeling today? Everything cool?
Yeah, I'm having we're in interesting times at the moment, so it's not usual that I guess you would be in your
bedroom
wherever you are, and that I would be on my deck. Though I guess that's nice, but unusual circumstances that we're under right now at the moment. But yeah. Well,
that's completely true. Well, I wanted to kind of just get into a little bit about what we do at Creative Greensboro and let our listeners hear it from your voice. Sort of the things that we've been doing. We've had some really good successes before kind of the COVID-19 thing happened. So maybe we can talk a little bit about your time since you've been our new Chief Creative Economy Officer and your time here at work. And if you want to elaborate a little bit about what you love about Greensboro, whatever, that's fine. But let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go into the COVID stuff here after a few minutes.
So I started on November the 1st. That's not quite 6 months ago at this point. And I've told like friends and family, it's been a bit like drinking from a fire hose for these first months, in a good way. That's not a complaint at all, but just everything is new. All the people are new, the environment's new, the community's new. I spent some time in Greensboro in the early 2000s, but in what feels like a different life, honestly. So the first few weeks on the job were, Josh, you can attest to this. Like, I worked in the office. It was like meeting, which was great. I mean, I met probably over 100 folks over the course of the first few weeks, the leaders and creatives within the creative community. Got out to see a lot of creative product during that time. Everything from openings at the Weatherspoon Gallery at UNCG to Green Hill and Center for Visual Arts and the Atelier, our partners at the Cultural Center. Mm-hmm. Saw a show at Community Theater of Greensboro, at Triad Stage, caught performances by several of the music ensembles that we facilitate at the city, and some of the theater for young people programming that we do. So it's been a lot of absorption, but really good stuff that's going to inform the work moving forward. And then in the, on the weekends, and when I have a moment, my partner John and I, when we have a moment or two to ourselves, we love parks and greenways. That was our sort of thing to do in the downtime in Charlotte before we moved here, and so we quickly adopted that as a favorite pastime. And so I kept saying we were going to create like a calendar and like intentionally and strategically, because you can probably attest those are two of my favorite words, but to really intentionally knock out all the parks and greenways. We haven't done the calendar yet, but it's coming.
There's a lot. There's a lot though. I was somebody asked me that the other day, and I think we're still hovering around like 100 miles of greenways and trails. I mean, and we've never really talked about this. I've lived here since 2010, and I mean, I don't think I live anywhere else. Like, this city's incredible. Just the ease of access, the ease of getting around. And, Matt, you've been around Greensboro forever. You can attest to this too, but like just getting around is so easy, and the amenities are there in the parks. And I mean, I went on an hour bike ride today, and I clipped by probably 6 or 7 different parks. And I mean, just having that's true quality of life. And it dovetails perfectly with what we do in arts and culture and what we try to foster and bring to our community. So I'm
And
glad.
along the line, down the road, I'm already sort of noodling, as Joshua knows, uh, like how can we push the boundaries on that intersection between arts and culture and our green spaces? Like, how can we be partners to the community in even more fully activating them,
Yeah.
really dynamic creative programming? So that's exciting to me in the long term, for sure.
Yeah.
I
I
think
would
that's been a
agree.
goal for a while now, is to sort of to figure out a way to get the things like the murals and the music and stuff like that more like interjected into the community, outside of places that they normally are. So
Yeah.
like, how do we do that? And I know that's something that Josh and I spoke about a little bit ever since I sort of came on. But to see that is a plan that is still unfolding and still being worked on, and is exciting to hear.
Yeah. And we had some great wins in Creative Greensboro. I mean, before the coronavirus happened, we did some great things. We had a logo. We should celebrate those a little bit before we talk about kind of all the things we're doing now. But I mean, just off the top of my head, I know we hosted a logo contest. Do you want to tell us about some of the other things that we were pretty
Yeah, that was
successful in doing?
important, because that was really sort of a step 1A in my mind, so that we had a creative mark that we could put on the announcements and rollout of everything that is to come. And the response to that was incredible.
Yeah.
Our intent was to lift up and celebrate the work of folks who maybe wouldn't have risen to the top if we did a typical call for a logo. And we were totally effective at that. And, I think Brian Davis, who designed the logo that we selected, is like a set builder in his normal day life. I don't think he's the typical logo creator guy, but he created an incredible mark for us that speaks to the energy and what we're about. So that was fantastic.
Yeah.
We also published a call for music groups to participate in the 42-year tradition of MUSEP in Greensboro. I wanted to make sure, as with everything that we do, that, not just that we do good work, but that we make sure that it's transparent and visible to the entire community. Not just that we're doing it, but how to get involved in it themselves. And so we wanted to open up the selection call for that. And, I think we ended up with over 80 submissions from local bands, which was incredible. Unfortunately, we can only use about 20 over the course of the typical season. So that made for some difficult choices and decisions. And we'll see where we land with music at this point, given the environment that we're functioning in right now. But I have faith that we will find a way, though it may not be the traditional way, to bring that life to work and share it, bring that work to life and share it with the community.
Yeah, that's one thing I've appreciated working with you from the beginning, is that you certainly have your eye on the variety of the different level. I mean, it's really important, is that they're creative and artists are of all ranging and all abilities alone, but like, lifting themselves up in different ways. And it really is our job to sort of illuminate that. And that logo contest was beautiful to see all those artists in the same space connecting and just being like, oh, you're here too. Oh, this is what you do. And that's really powerful. And the same thing with an open call for our musicians from USEP. And even from the second we started dealing with this coronavirus, your message has never been, let's close this off and not, let's help. How do we find a way to help these artists? How do we still make sure that we can help them and compensate them and find little ways? And so, from that, I feel like our momentum has been able to continue, and that's powerful. I mean, that's us truly, serving our role in the community. So that's great.
I think you all chatted about the Greensboro at Home Arts and Creativity Guide maybe on your last installment, but we got that officially rolled out on Monday of this week.
Yeah.
This is day 3. The response to that has been great. It's gotten a lot of traction on social, had great coverage from WFMY News 2 and sharing that resource out with the community. And I mean, it's a 3-page document right now full of all sorts of creative programs that folks can engage with, from their mobile device or computer. for all ages. Most of it's free. And again,
Mhm.
it's science, it's dance, it's visual art, it's music. It's a really, I mean, it is a reflection of Creative Greensboro, which is great
Yeah.
and beautiful.
Yeah, and that creative, if for any of our listeners that want to access that while you're listening, if you go to creativegreensboro.com, that's where we sort of have the information about it. But you can find it on the social media channels for Creative Greensboro. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and Twitter. I think we are, and our partners in that whole project, our collaboration partners are Arts Greensboro. So Arts Greensboro is another arts organization that concentrates a lot on the philanthropy fundraising side, and they're our real partners on this. So I agree. It's been great. My favorite one, and Matt, I don't know if you have a favorite one, Matt, if you've looked at the guide, but my favorite is Blacksmithing 101. Like, there's literally a guy from the YMCA that is teaching blacksmithing. Like, and to me, that's like something I've never seen before. I'm completely interested in, and we certainly have time to deal with it, to explore new things at this time. So that's one that I've truly enjoyed. Matt,
So are you
do you have
gonna
any
are
that
you gonna are you gonna set that up in your backyard? Like, how are you gonna follow along with that?
Well, I don't know how participation's going to go, but I can say I learned something.
Well, if you work on something, if you get a forge or something set up in your backyard, let me know. I know you like to do that sort of thing.
Yeah. I got to
So,
get the wood shop finished. If I can finish my wood shop, maybe then I'll work into the metal shop, but I love
okay,
where your head's at.
okay, that's good. No,
The
I,
other
I
one was
agree. I
craft
think like
cocktail. There was a craft cocktail one the other
the
night too.
craft
I'm sorry.
cocktail one, yeah, it looks cool. But the blacksmithing, I always dug the what Jim Gallucci, was he the one that came around and did the smelting stuff, the metal pouring and things like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
that
Iron
stuff was
pour.
always like super cool to me, in the fact that we were able to do that sort of out in the open like that and expose people to something that they normally wouldn't
Yeah.
get hands on with. So anything sort of metalworking and things like that is great, because I know that I'll never be great at it. So it's nice to appreciate somebody that has some talent and some skill.
Some metal banging skills. Man, I tell you, my favorite thing back in the day at the fair in Winston at the Dixie Classic Fairs, we had like a yesteryear village. And man, seeing all those old timey like guys just working on all the metal and doing all the blacksmithing, I love the smells of it. I'm sure it's like terrible for your health, but like I love the smell of that. I mean, they come out of there looking like, they're all covered in soot and whatnot. But anyway, all right, I'm rambling about
All the like,
blacksmithing.
folk fest and like traditional arts, because you guys are wearing these shirts. I think that's what's influencing this
Yeah.
fascination this afternoon. I love it.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. So we've heard some great stories. We've got great feedback, I think, from the community. Also wanted to mention, as soon as all this kind of started going on, we were in talks with Arts Greensboro, not about just having the guide, but also about kind of the fundraising and the financial support for artists. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that, Ryan? I know that Arts Greensboro started up a little bit of a fund, but we've been kind of helping out with it and whatnot.
Are you talking about in response to COVID-19?
Well, yeah, but the arts fund that they started, that they produced for the artists.
Yep. So Arts Greensboro is facilitating an artist emergency relief fund that's designed to help offset the financial loss that individual artists and creatives in our community are experiencing because of the loss of an opportunity to sell work, or the loss of a gig, a performance gig. And so they're making grant awards to artists every week right now. And we are looking at what a more formal partnership between Creative Greensboro and Arts Greensboro can look like on that. But they're doing great work on it. Up to this point, they got a large grant from the United Way, which was fantastic.
Oh, nice.
I think that was announced early this week.
Okay.
And the community has supported it with individual contributions as well. It's really, we talk a lot, and we're talking a lot right now about the ways that you can still engage with virtual programs from the creative community right now. And that's important, because we want folks to know that our creative leaders and artists are still working and still have ways for them to engage you. But we can't overlook or deny the fact that, just as is experienced by every other sector right now, our arts community is really struggling with financial losses attached to the necessity of everyone staying at home right now. And so we need to do everything we can and encourage our friends to do everything they can to chip in a little extra support if they're able, to help make sure our artists and nonprofit orgs make it through this crisis.
Yeah.
So our hats are off to our friends at Arts Greensboro for doing the work that they're doing in that way. And yeah, we certainly intend to be partners with them for the long haul.
Yeah.
And it's not just about getting through this. I mean, it's really about coming out on the other side, like still strong and being able to, continue on with, I mean, it's hard to compare life after this sort of pandemic to, what it was before, but you want to
Yeah.
come out on the other side strong and, and be able to sort of build off of, what you had in the past. So, surviving the pandemic is one thing. Yeah. But
I look around like on my social media accounts. I don't know if this is the same as you guys or not, but what are folks doing right now when they are at home? A lot of folks are streaming concerts, or I've got a lot of musical theater fans and buffs on my Facebook page, and they're all watching like streaming musicals and shows, and people are at home coloring and drawing, out in their yard exploring. I mean, like we turn to the arts and creativity in times of, we do it every day in our regular life, but we really do it in times of crisis and moments where we have some time to sit and reflect and ponder. So our creative community is really important. It's more important right now than ever. So yeah, stay connected to them, and then we have to do everything we can to support them.
Yeah, and there are a lot of mechanisms. I'm sure a lot of our listeners know this, but there are a lot of mechanisms during those live streams and other products or programs that are happening to support them, and I think that's really important, that if you are able to enjoy what you see, drop $1 in that bucket, because I've reflected so much about this with my wife and with you, Matt, too. Like, we are so fortunate to be able to have positions of employment that for right now are fine, and we are able to do that. I can't imagine what it'd be like to be in the service industry, to be a musician that then also has 2 or 3 other jobs, and all of that those income sources dry up, and you don't know what the other side of the coin is going to look like. And so I think that's a really powerful result of what this whole entire pandemic is causing, is that it's requiring people to really dig down and I think everybody sort of feels like you're a part of a group together now, right? Like it's a very unifying thing. But if we can unify our methods of support to help one another, I think it'll just continue to expand. And there's a lot of power in that. But I also wanted to mention, we recorded another podcast with Jessica Rambo, who is an artist from UNCG, a former a veteran from the Marines, and she spoke about just how incredible this has sort of been an opportunity for people to become in touch with their own creative sides. I know, Ryan, you're a professional, or at some point I think had some version of a musical theater background. I really don't have many things. I do a little bit of woodworking, but I've picked up my mandolin and I've played it a ton, and I'm actually I've learned it, and it's become something that it's been an incredible outlet for me, and a reminder that this is something that can give me the mental release. And I think hopefully people out there, a lot of people are finding that connection and finding that release in a time of stress on their own accord. So, I mean, there's a lot of great things that are coming from this. Mm-hmm.
When are we going to get a taste of that mandolin is the question.
I probably should stop talking about it if I don't want to play it on
I mean,
air,
I think you've mentioned it on every episode we've done. So it's going to come. It's going to happen.
All right. I know a song now, and I can play it all the way through. I don't know the word. I can't do it with the words yet. So I'll learn the words. Okay.
You're going to sing too?
I'll make a commitment to maybe play a song and sing the words to it on this podcast right here.
There you go. You heard it here first, chatterheads.
So, well, great. Well, Ryan, I mean, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, hopefully this has been a great opportunity for folks to hear what's going on. We, if there's anything else you want to add, Ryan, feel free to. I don't know.
Maybe you'll have me again sometime.
I imagine that'll probably be the case. That'll be the
case.
Play
your cards right.
But we encourage everyone to go to creativegreensboro.com. That's our website. We're all over the social media channels. There's a lot of places. And our arts and creativity virtual guide has been published, and it'll be daily. It's updated on the daily, and it is accessible at Arts Greensboro or at Creative Greensboro, and on all the social media channels. And in that one place, you'll see literally like 30 items of creative programming, anything from stuff for 0 to 4-year-old kids to teens to theater to music to everything to blacksmithing, right?
And that's being constantly updated, right, Josh?
We update it every morning. Yep. And it's published by about 11 o'clock every day.
So thank you, Josh, for your work on that.
Hey, I'm happy to help. Happy to be a part of the solution, right?
There you go.
Well, all right. Well, Matt, do you have anything else you want to add?
This is our 50th episode, so happy 50th.
Yeah.
And right about our 2-year anniversary. I think we may have missed it by a couple of weeks, but we've been doing this Gate City Chatter for 2 solid years now. So
I don't know what to say about that, Matt, but that has been
it's an emotional.
It's been a great ride.
Of good vibes.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I should have looked up the statistics, but I mean, I know we've had like over 10,000 individual listens on the actual podcast platforms. You know, we've started doing the YouTube halfway in, and then we've started to, increase that viewership as well, especially with this and the more regular content going out. And we've found ways to sort of bring in, different people from different areas and local businesses and artists and things like that. And we've sort of, I think we've put together we've gone from a pokey little podcast to an establishment, a pillar of the community, if you will.
Hey man, I can still remember the first time somebody was like, "Do you have a podcast?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, we actually do, yeah." Well, so yeah. It's been a great way to reach people in a different way, and we really do love and appreciate all of our fans out there. We get your comments, we get your shares and your likes all over the platforms, and we appreciate that. It really does bring us a lot of spirit and a lot of energy, and we just want to keep creating this for another 50 episodes then, huh? Is that what we're signing up for?
That's true. I think it's in my contract.
Ryan, do you sign off on that? Are you cool with that?
Good idea.
All right, wonderful. All right, well, until then, this is your host of Gate City Chatter, Josh Sherrick, signing off for my friend Matt Feltz and my other friend Ryan Deal. Thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time, Chatterheads, be safe, be peaceful in your own practice, and enjoy your family and your own household for now, right?
Well said. Take care, everybody.
All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.